and welcome to Virginia's Views and Vibes. I'm your host, Ginny Gardner, and tonight, let the celebration begin. We are starting right now this month to celebrate Margot Mania. Our very good friend, an angel as a matter of fact, Margot Einstein, turns 100 on July 22nd. Third. July 23rd.
No, I do. I turn 100 July 22nd. But as a Jew, we can't have any kind of get-together such as what we're planning. So we're making it Sunday, July 23rd at 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock. And this is going to be at the Post 440 in Newton. I think we thought it was 235 California Street, Newton. And you can always call there. The number is 617-244-0440. And you can also email me, Virginia Gardner, at AOL.com, and I will connect you to the right people. But this is a huge sort of celebration, but remembrance and birthday event for you. This is to, I'm going to use the word celebrate, but in actual fact, it's recognition of all your years and all the great work you have done. And you're going to extend that invitation to 10 groups that you want to honor. As we're honoring you, you're honoring 10 other people, which is so much like what you do. And we'll talk about all of them. And if you want, Margot, you can hold up that flyer if you like. So this is the official Margot Mania flyer for the event, which is July 23rd, Sunday, at Post 440. And we're getting ready now because we've been meeting, as you know, and you have 2 MCs. Is that correct?
Yes, you are one of them, and thank you so much for doing it, Ginny.
My honor.
You're so good at it. You did it at Lonnie Brennan's Boston Broadside
That was fun.
celebration for his 100th edition.
Yeah.
And you're a pro.
I'm not so sure.
You're a pro and a charmer as well.
Well, 100 is the number. It was last year, now this year. And this is outstanding because, first of all, you were born here, is that correct? You were born here. No?
I was born in New York. I lived in Hawaii.
I know.
I lived in Beverly Hills. I spent 7 years on Air Force bases
Really?
in Texas. And I feel like I've lived here. It's been over 60 years.
Really?
Yes.
So I'm going to back up. So you were born in New York, and then from New York you went to school in Hawaii?
Hawaii.
How did you get to Hawaii from New York?
On a boat. They didn't have planes in those days.
No way.
Or not the kind of plane that we could ride in.
Right. So really? And what made your family go to Hawaii? Your father was serving, or how did that work?
It was a whim.
Really?
Of my parents.
Wow.
Let's go to Hawaii, as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
So I was 8, and my brother was 5.
Really?
But I think the important thing is what you started out with and what you so beautifully explained, which is, you know, we can't call it a celebration.
Right.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
But before I go into that, I want to thank Ginny for having me on this program, for being able to speak, and all of the people on the committee that's working on this July 23rd.
Yeah. Event.
I want to thank Beth D'Amato, who's always there for everything that is needed, a true Christian Zionist. I want to thank Lonnie Brennan, whom we were just talking about before, how wonderful he is. as the editor and publisher and founder of the Boston Broadside,
Yeah.
which was a great success on its 100th edition at Post 440. And I hope that we can emulate the tremendous group that was there. As many people were turned away as were able to come and fit in to Post 440. It was a beautiful ceremony. I want to thank Aura Mountain, who's heading up the committee that is seeing that everything is just going to be
Perfect.
perfect,
Perfect.
great for our get-together on Sunday the 23rd. I want to thank Russell Pergament, who's bought 2 tables. I'm deeply grateful to him. He's also going to be the Master of Ceremonies along with Ginny. And who else is on that committee?
Well, I was just going to say, so I have to close my eyes and go around the table where we met last. It is, of course, Aura Mountain, the chairman, fabulous. Beth D'Amato, Sandy Young.
Sandy Young.
Sandy Young.
What a treasure she is.
Yeah.
Sandy Young is so active in so many important organizations and groups. She's just a heroic person.
She really is.
And I admire her, as so many people do. Who else did you say, Jenny?
Well, I was going to say, Sandy Young is the type of person that you say to her, Sandy, can you help me do this? And without even thinking about it, the answer is yes. So that Sandy is always there and always ready to help.
That's Sandy.
That's Sandy. And then, of course, Nick Pasquarosa.
Oh, what a treasure. I love that man.
Yeah.
He's brave, he's courageous. He not only does the work that needs to be done for Post 440, so much of it, but he also is not afraid to speak out about what's going on in America today.
That's right.
And I admire him so much for that. And Paul and Nick, they're just the best.
They are.
They are the best.
They are. Both
They
Paul-
trade off commanders with
They
the commander that's there now.
They do. That's right. And they're both the same as you. They're patriots, and they're courageous.
They are. They're
They are
amazing.
not afraid to speak up. And I can say that about our entire group. Beth, Sandy, Aura, I hope myself, Nick, Paul. We know what needs to be done. And I'm so fortunate and I'm so blessed to be associated with you, first of all, and then this group of really strong patriots, courageous people. And we call it an event because I know you'll go into it, but Jewish law, which is that the
Yeah, but first I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
That Karen Hurwitz, I believe,
Yes.
is part of that. And she's a lawyer,
Yes.
and she does not hesitate
Oh yeah.
to speak vividly,
Yep.
even angrily, about what's happening to America today.
That's right. And Trisha.
Oh my goodness sakes alive.
Trisha.
The best of the best. She is president of Christians and Jews United for Israel, which is basically taking the load of tickets, of all of the details that go into this July 23rd. She's a wonderful Christian Zionist.
Yeah.
She's a marvelous president of Christians and Jews United for Israel. And we love her.
Yeah.
She's an optimist whose optimism is realistic. What the human spirit can do against evil. And frankly, what we're up against now is good against evil.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to do my part. I wanted to use the fact that I'm going to be 100, which to me is quite amazing. How did time fly so quickly?
That's right.
It's just amazing.
You blink.
Time is inexorable. It just comes, and that's it.
That's right.
And you really can't do much about time except what you do in it.
Margot, we have a caller. So I'm going to introduce our first caller. Good evening. Tom Mountain has called in. So I'm gonna sort of tell Margot what you're saying, Tom, because it's difficult for her to understand through the phone. So you say if you would like to ask your question, and of course, wish Margot a happy birthday, and then I'll pass your question along to Margot. So welcome, caller Tom Mountain.
I am so delighted to be with Ginny and Margot, who is celebrating her first century on this earth. And Margot, what is extraordinary is that you were born, your first president was Warren Harding in 1923, who died of a heart attack barely 3 weeks later. Then we had Calvin Coolidge, et cetera, et cetera. Now, you have lived under 18 presidents, 10 of whom were Republicans. 18 presidents from Warren Harding to currently Joe Biden. Who was the worst president you lived under, and who was the best president?
Okay, I'm going to pass that along to Margot, and if you hold, I'm going to pass that along and ask her that. So Tom's question is, we've had 18 presidents since you were born. He would like to know your thoughts on who was the best and who was the worst. So my best is President Trump and Ronald Reagan, but what's your best?
Your best is what?
Ronald Reagan.
Yes, don't forget him.
And Trump, and President Trump. So who's your favorite? You can have one, 2 or 3.
George Washington.
George Washington.
Lincoln.
Okay.
And there's a third back there that I can't think of, who was absolutely marvelous. Reagan, absolutely the third or the fourth.
Yeah.
And the worst is Biden by far, by far. And that's the reason I want to do this July 23rd, because I want to use being 100, being able to bring in what I call the terrific 10. In my humble opinion, I think that these 10 are effective, effectively good against evil.
Yeah.
Judicial Watch wins in the courts, corrupt as the courts are now, and leaning heavily toward the Democratic Party and China. They are still winning in the courts, and they're winning about the schools, which are horrendous, what they're teaching in the schools. And this has been one of my passions for many years, to talk about the necessity for the STEM sciences and not all this gobbledygook about race, about I don't know.
Sexuality.
I hate to even bring this
Yeah.
up. Sexuality,
Yeah,
the whole mess.
Yeah.
I'm a Zionist, and there are so many wonderful Christians who are Christian Zionists. We bless them, we thank them, and Zionist Organization of America is staunchly for Israel, without any doubt, without any equivocating back and forth. FIDF, the Friends of
the Israeli Defense Forces.
of the Israeli Defense Forces, they fight. And Israel is a miracle of action, a miracle of heroism to come back again after centuries, to be a nation. And what a nation, in so many wonderful ways. And every year you go there, there's something new and marvelous. And there's something sacred and beautiful about the air. And as it says here, to work for Israel is to work for America. To work for America is to work for Israel.
The fates
The
are
two intertwined.
Right, the two are intertwined.
Intertwined.
That's right. That's exactly right. Let's go through them. Let's start at the American Legion Post. We kind of talked about that. Nick and Paul, the American Legion Post 440, a very veterans-geared organization.
Fabulous.
Yep.
The American Legion.
Yep. Nothing better. They are great. They are great. They're this weekend they will be out there doing the flags, honoring the people that died. We'll go to the memorials. Always. They're always involved. They're always caring, and they're always remembering our veterans.
And the Women's Auxiliary Group, is that what?
Yeah, the American Legion Auxiliary. We're right there with them.
They're so much a part of this. There's another intertwined.
You know what? We were welcomed. The American Legion Auxiliary Women, the group, we were welcomed to participate in this. And that again speaks volumes about Nick and Paul and Donnie Gentile and the Post in general. We were never told, go into the kitchen and make pasta, although we do that too, but we're also involved in doing the things that support veterans. We'll go to the cemetery.
God bless you for that.
We do that. And then there's, I'm going to mess this up, Beth El Athera, Israel?
Beth El Ataroth, Israel,
Ataroth,
which is my synagogue.
Yep.
And Rabbi Siegel and his wonderful wife, Tova. Tova gets the picture of what's happening in America today.
Yeah.
And she's a fighter. And also Rabbi Poulter, who is the rabbi of Acton, Lowell Chabad, and he's a very brave man who writes for the Boston Broadside and is not afraid to speak up, as unfortunately so many of the Jewish organizations are. They're timid, and I respect those who speak out, and every one of these 10 speaks out and fights for American freedom and for Israel.
You know, we now have another caller. We have Tanya. And Tanya, welcome. I'm so glad you're able to call in. This is Ginny Gardner. So I'm going to take your question, and then I'm going to tell Margot, because she's having a little difficulty with the sound. So if you could, you can absolutely say happy birthday to Margot, and then we welcome your question. So welcome, Tanya.
Thank you very much, Ginny. Happy birthday to Margot.
Is this Tanya Garland?
Birthday
Wow.
for
God
many,
bless
many
her.
people. because Margot is an inspiration for hundreds of people, not only in America, in Boston, in Utah, in America, but also in Israel.
Wow.
A group of wonderful people is going to come to Margot's birthday from Israel, from Judea and Samaria.
Wow.
And my question is, what is the achievement? Because Margot has a lot of achievements during her lifetime. What is the achievement she precious the most?
Okay. Thank you, Tanya, for calling in. I appreciate it.
What was the last sentence
So the
she
last
said?
sentence was, first of all, you're an inspiration to everybody, and I've told you that from the time I met you. You are an inspiration.
Thank you.
And you've had and you're going to have the people coming to the event, the 23rd event, are coming from Judea and Samaria.
Yisha. And they fight for Judea and Samaria being an integral part of Israel. There's this big untruthful statement which the Palestinians are putting forth and murdering Jews for, that Judea and Samaria do not belong to Israel. They're biblically there. Yeah. They've been there for thousands of years, and they're an incredibly important part of Israel. And the exciting thing is that one of the terrific 10 is the Yisha Council, and they are flying over, 5 of them, to be at this birthday. I won't call it a celebration. I'll explain in a minute why not. To be there. How wonderful is that they will be there and that they're excited to be there. The reason that I'm not calling it a celebration is that it turned out that the 23rd of July was part of a very important commemoration, which is the 9th of Ab. What is the 9th of Ab? It is recollecting the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD. We Jews are living history going all the way back to ancient times. It's really quite remarkable because history must be remembered. What is happening today is also a part of history. But history must be recalled. And we Jews do that. And the 9th of Ab, we mourn. We mourn for the destruction of the temple. And you know what? That fits in perfectly with what I want for my birthday. Not a celebration. That is not allowed on the 9th of Ab. But a commemoration of what can happen if we're not alert, if we don't speak up, if we don't fight for freedom and for Zion. And that is what my birthday is about. Not a celebration, but the memory of what can happen and what is happening again now.
Yes, absolutely. And
Thank you, Tanya.
And it's a commemoration event. And if you would like to join us, again, you can email me directly, go to our Facebook page. But I just want to go through the event And what will happen, and again, it's the Fabulous 10, and it's Margot Mania, and we're going to have a welcome. Both Russell and I will welcome you all and thank you for coming. We will not have music. We will say the Pledge of Allegiance. We can sing, but without instruments, the Star-Spangled Banner, the American National Anthem, and then the Israeli National Anthem, I'm gonna mess this up, Hatikava, what is, Ora? What is that, the Israeli National Anthem?
Hatikva.
Hatikva, oh, I had it right. And then the Hatikva.
Which is a hope.
Hope, okay. And then the invocation, and I think the rabbi will do the invocation, and then we'll have a lovely dinner. There'll be raffles, and then invited guests. Some of them will speak, and Margot will, of course, speak, and then we'll have a closing, and Russell Pergamet will close, and then we'll just speak to each other and how we enjoy the event and wish Margot a happy birthday. We're not celebrating. We'll just say happy birthday to you. And
Also, Ginny, raffles. We're going to do
raffle. What are the raffles, Mrs. Mountain?
We're going to have a night in town with a dinner at
Marriott? No.
no, the dinner at
That's okay. Night in
in
town.
Boston.
And then I think Honda Village is going to do detailing on the car, and then a starter, I believe. Then I think there's wine from Judea. Is that correct, Ora? Not wine. Is there wine that will be raffled off from Judea?
There will be wine from Judea and Samaria.
Wow.
Yep,
Yes.
that will be
I
raffled.
didn't know that. That's
And
wonderful.
also Honda Village is raffling 2 things.
I think it's a detailing and the starter, no?
Yes,
Detailing and the starter.
yes, and the Capitol Grill is the dinner.
Wow. Capital, wow. So
Wow,
a
that's a
very
surprise to me.
impressive event. So we hope you can join us, and we thank Margot so much for coming out, talking to us, and announcing her commemoration event for July 23rd at the Post 440. See you next time, and thank you, Margot.
My pleasure. And Aura is doing a fabulous job
She really is.
as